Hi everyone, hope you're all having an amazing day and thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I wanted to give you a roundup of my second trimester. Yeah, hard to believe we're already through the second trimester and I am 27 weeks and 2 days as of today as I'm filming this. Just begun my third trimester. So we have about 13-ish weeks to go before this little one gets here. Let's quickly get on with it. If you haven't watched my first trimester roundup, I'll link it up on the screen or in the description somewhere. If you're curious, like what a woman goes through when she's pregnant. And this is also for me to look back when I'm not pregnant and I'm just missing this time. So yeah, let's get on with it. I think last time I left, by the way, I have my notes here on my laptop, so I'm gonna be looking up and down because it's been 3-ish months that I've had all these symptoms and notes over, so it feels like a long time ago and my memory is not that great. Yeah, last time we spoke until about I think week 12, which is when I had my NT scan, which is a nuchal translucency scan, and that went really well. They saw the baby's spinal cord. I think they look at some fluid in their neck region, and it has to be under a certain level for them to rule out any symptoms of Down syndrome. So that was all good. We saw baby was nicely moving and grooving in there, so that was a really, really good sign for me. But now let's talk about from week 13. So week 13 and 14, I've written here, had pretty similar symptoms. I started to see a small bump on the way when I started like my 13th, 14th week. Mind you, initially I had a lot of bloating and I was finally seeing a bump which was different from bloating. Whatever bit of nausea that I had started going away, which was great. And I think I was very lucky that I didn't have, severe nausea or anything, no vomiting or anything of that sort. So yeah, I was really, really thankful and grateful that I didn't have to go through all that. Week 14 was very exciting because that's when we did our gender reveal. Yeah, it was really, really exciting. One of our very, very best friends helped us organize and actually plan the gender reveal. It was great. I'll try to put in certain clips here after we do our 14-week review. Yeah, I started to get my energy back, and as they say, once you start getting into your second trimester is when you start to feel better, you get your energy back, and it was definitely like that for me. Because wasn't that big, didn't have any major symptoms initially. When I was in, I think I've written this further down as well, I started to feel like, hey, is something really even happening? Because the first trimester you still have like fatigue and maybe like a little bit of nausea and something. But the second trimester, at least the beginning of the second trimester, when you don't feel movements yet, you're just like, is something even happening? Like, am I even pregnant? It's a little weird time, at least it was for me. So starting to get my energy back, I noticed that my breasts had gotten larger and the area around the nipples had gotten especially dark. And I think I mentioned this in my last video, it's just nature trying to do its thing. I'm sure once we are through with this pregnancy and baby's out, baby's done feeding, everything is going to go back to normal. But my hunger, still super hungry all the time. This baby needs me to eat a lot more, so I'm super hungry most of the time. And about the gender reveal, so da 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 da, we are having a boy. Yes, we are very, very excited. I had a dream around, I want to say week 10. That's when we did our NIPT blood test, which apart from scanning for different abnormalities in the DNA of the baby, they can also tell you the gender because it is a genetic screening. And and we were looking at ideas of how we wanted to do a gender reveal. We definitely wanted to do a gender reveal. I know it's not a common concept in India because obviously you don't know the gender. It's illegal to know the gender before birth, but because we wanted to do it, I was looking at ideas that we could do, how we could reveal the gender. That particular night I had a dream that I was done with the gender reveal, and people were coming and telling me like, hey, it's a boy, it's a boy. So that was really surreal, and I told Kumar that, like, people say that these dreams are in fact true, that you have during your pregnancy about a gender or whatever. So yeah, that was pretty sweet. Our friend, he did an amazing job. He planned like a treasure hunt for us to do the reveal, and that was super cool. Yeah, and girl or boy, in the end, it doesn't really matter. We were just happy and excited to finally know what it was. And the only thing that matters is health, and that's all we pray for, and that's all we want. So yeah, gender reveal was very exciting, but I was so exhausted. We hosted the gender reveal party at our house, in our backyard. So and we didn't have a lot of people. I just wanted to keep it small and intimate. I just don't like to be surrounded by a ton of people. It's just that I want to be able to talk to and interact with everyone at a party. So we just had a few of our closest friends. It was great. Everyone had a good time. Some people made new friends. We met everybody that we care about. So that was really nice. Now, starting week 15, I've again written that I started to feel super normal. Yeah, like I said, like I felt like my pre-pregnancy body, honestly, like no symptoms. I felt nothing. And I was like, again, yeah, is anything really happening? I did start doing like 10-minute prenatal yogas morning and nights sometimes, just to get into the rhythm and groove and just like move my body. I was still doing walks, and I still continue to do walks. And yeah, that's what I've written here as well. Continue to walk after dinner and a little after lunch. It's hard to do that after lunch because I will have like meetings or work or something like that. But definitely walking after dinner is what I and Kumar do together. Week 15, I also started feeling something in my tummy, like, my lower abdomen. But again, I wasn't sure. This is my first baby. So I wasn't sure if it was the baby or gas. And yeah, when you're pregnant, you deal with a lot of gas. Moving on to week 16, my heartburn was back for a little bit. And I've had bouts of heartburn here and there, but now I've just gotten used to it. I just have to walk it out and then go to sleep. I shouldn't be like just lying as soon as I eat dinner or anything spicy. That's when it gets bad. But otherwise, I'm able to deal with heartburn without any medication. Week 16 is also when my lower back pain started happening. It was getting harder, a little bit harder to sleep. I was definitely considering getting a pregnancy pillow, but I didn't at this point. And week 16 is also when I had my 16-week checkup and my second trimester screening. So it was just a regular checkup to just make sure that everything was fine with baby. And I think 16 weeks was the first time when we got to hear the heartbeat of the baby, like on a Doppler. Yeah, it was weird. Like none of my fertility clinic or when I went to the gynecologist for the first time, they didn't have the equipment for me to be able to hear the heartbeat, which was very annoying. But then on my 16th appointment, I made sure to ask the doctor, and she was also ready with a Doppler, and we were able to hear the heartbeat, and it was just the best sound in the world. And yeah, the second trimester screening again just tests for some more like abnormalities that might happen. I don't exactly remember. I might put it on the screen, but yeah, that was about it. And everything went with the well with the screening as well. I also got my flu shot. I think this was in sometime in October, and then winter and flu season starts here. So that's when I was advised to get my flu shot. I didn't get the COVID booster this time because I'd heard like mixed reviews and opinions about people about taking the COVID booster shot during pregnancy. So I just went with the flu shot for now. 16 weeks and 5 days is when I definitely felt some flutters and movement. Again, it was like lower in my tummy. And I think I was really, really sure around this time, like, no, this is not gas. And this is just like some flutters and movements from the baby. I also started getting a little bit of headache around afternoon. And I think this was to do with the weather getting like really warm in the afternoons and me not using the fan enough or the AC enough. So it just used to get like my body used to get overheated and I used to get headaches. Week 16 is also the first time I took a prenatal massage, and it was so good. My body like was craving for it so much, and it felt amazing. Moving on to week 17, again still had some lower back pain, mostly when I slept, and then I did some yoga and stretches to relieve it, and for the time being it was better. But I noticed that when I slept, I definitely had that pain back, especially in my hip region. I did see like a lot of videos and everything on how to sleep better. And I think what definitely has helped me is having a pillow between my legs. So if I'm sleeping like this, my top hip is like this. If I'm sleeping on the left side, my right hip is the one that would pain the most. So if I'm sleeping, this is the position I had my hips in. So all the pressure was on this top hip. So if I just put a pillow in between to make the hip and knee and foot position kind of parallel to my lower leg, then everything's fine. So I've learned that after watching quite a bit of videos and blogs and everything. And now my hip pain is so much better. I've also moved on to using my pregnancy pillow, so that's amazing. In week 17, again, still feeling the flutters on and off. I had steady weight gain, still seeing the bumping and growing. One thing that was weird, I started having like a clicking jaw, especially on my right side. I don't know if you can still make it, but I can. Like this side has like a defined jaw, but this one isn't as defined. It just like looks a little bit sunken in, and I was a little bit scared in the beginning as to why this was happening, like a clicking jaw. I'd never experienced that before, and it was on both sides. Like it wasn't just on the right side, it was also on the left hand side. And I noticed this, I think this was around the time we were planning to go on the Babymoon, or just before that, sometime around that. And I was like, oh my God, I hope this is not something serious. And, I hope we're still able to go for our Babymoon. Again, I Googled, as you do, and it just says that hormones do that. And yeah, there's all sorts of weird things that hormones do during pregnancy. And I'm hoping that my jaw, now I can't remember if my jaw was always like this. So week 18 and 19, I've written them together because this is the time I think, yeah, we went for our Babymoon. So I didn't have like detailed symptoms for each week. So the clicking jaw sort of went away, and it got better. I did have a lot more energy. And I think this was like the best time of my pregnancy. And as people say, like it's the honeymoon phase of the pregnancy, and it definitely was. I had so much energy. We went for our Babymoon. We just kept it like relaxing. We took a cruise. That's when I filmed my last video, the first trimester roundup. And it was just the best. We had a balcony stateroom for 7 nights, and it was just so relaxing. Just like you eat whatever, come and rest, take naps, sit on the balcony and read. Like it was just the best time. And yeah, we wouldn't have asked for anything more. I was so grateful that starting with how this pregnancy actually started, I never imagined that I would go for a Babymoon. My plan was to just stay put for the 9 months till this little one popped out. But again, we just planned it because I felt safe. Baby was looking good. We did ask our doctor, and she gave us the okay. And yeah, we didn't do like, a lot of like touristy things or anything that we would have done. I wasn't pregnant, and I felt like, little taps in my abdomen from the baby. It felt like someone was tapping from under my skin right there. And so that definitely increased while weeks 18 and 19. Yeah, I did have some tips. Okay, I wrote some tips down here to travel during the second trimester. Definitely stay hydrated and take frequent walks. Our flight was about 5.5 hours from San Francisco to Orlando, Florida. It was, a direct flight because I didn't want to deal with any layovers. So I just wore my compression socks, had a bunch of snacks with me because, like I said, I tend to get super hungry. And then I also carried like a neck/back pillow. Oh, baby's moving. Neck/back pillow, and I took a wedge pillow for sleeping that I was using at home, and I slept so much better on the ship as well. So yeah, definitely when you are taking a flight. Oh, let me change positions. So yeah, definitely if you are taking a flight when you're pregnant or even otherwise, it's a great idea to wear compression socks so you don't get any swelling in your legs. I was taking walks probably every hour in the 5 hour flight, and unfortunately I had like a window seat, and there was an old lady sitting on the aisle seat, and she had to like get up again and again. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And then when we got back, I finally hit week 20, which was so exciting because it was the middle of the pregnancy, more or less, depending on when this one comes out. The day I hit week 20 is when I felt the baby move so much that I was like, this is definitely baby moving. and so much movement. He was definitely getting stronger. I could feel him in my lower tummy and definitely felt him kicking. And sometimes the kicking was so intense that if I had Kumar keep his hand on my tummy, he could feel it. So that was awesome. That, just the best feeling in the world when you can feel your baby move inside you. It's just so surreal and like an alien, like what is even going on. At this time definitely back pain was happening, so I did order my pregnancy pillow, and it did wonders for my back. So week 20 I think was also when Black Friday hit. I bought a few baby items, especially the bigger items. Like we bought a stroller, we bought a car seat, and in terms of clothes I didn't buy a lot because I was like, I don't know what I should buy. But oh, we did also buy a crib and a mattress. And then yeah, in terms of clothes, just got like a few sets. So a set of hats, onesies, like the zipper sleepers, and what else, it had like socks, I think. Mostly in the range of like 0 to 3 and 3 to 6 months. 20 weeks is also when I had my anatomy scan. So it was like right around the end of 20 weeks, I think just a day before I turned 21 weeks. And the anatomy scan was great. Our technician was so amazing. I have to say, like during my NT scan and my anomaly and anatomy scan, both my technicians were just amazing. And I would wish that everyone get a technician like them, because they were so vocal, and it really helped cure any anxiety that I had, because of course you have anxiety with the anatomy scan. You're just hoping that everything is well with the baby was measuring about a pound exactly at 20 weeks, and his heart rate was 157 beats per minute, which is great. So she looked at everything. She looked at all the chambers of the heart: hands, legs, head, spine, fingers and toes, the brain, feet, everything. And this took about like 30 to 35 minutes. And they do ask you to drink a ton of water before you come in. And also remember to have like a good meal, because I've had friends whose baby was just sleeping in there. So they had to go in for a repeat scan because the technician couldn't get the pictures that they want to of different parts that they're seeing. And so if they don't get that, they might call you back. But in my case, baby was happy and just moving. And when she was moving the wand on my belly, I could actually feel him, move and jump from one place to another. And he was being so naughty because at one point when she went to look at his bladder, every location that she was looking at, it felt like he knew what we were looking at. So when we went to look at his bladder, he peed, and his bladder just went poof, empty. So at that point the technician was like, oops, looks like baby just peed. It was very funny. And also like when she was looking at certain, I don't know, parts of the body, he was just like moving and like not ready to take any picture. uh, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, we were glad that they were able to take all the pictures they need. They also gave us a bunch of pictures to take home for the baby. They did verify that it was indeed a boy and showed us his boy parts during the scan. So confirmed that this is a boy. And yeah, it was great to have, to see like the baby was super active and we got to take so many pictures. It was just so great. And I think like a pro tip I want to give you is, like, if you are feeling anxious, which most of us do when we go in for any type of scan during pregnancy, and if you feel comfortable, just let the technician know that you want them to be talking through the process. Because our technician was like, okay, let's look at the head, okay, let's look at the heart now, okay, this is the four chambers of the heart, and this is the hand, feet, like whatever. Like, it gave me and Kumar a relief to just like know and see what they were exactly looking for and looking at. But there are some technicians who just like there to do their job. They might be new, or this might just be how they work. They want to be focused, they don't feel comfortable talking, and that might make you nervous, like, hey, why isn't this person saying anything? So just let them know how you want your appointment to go, and hopefully that would make the experience better. Week 21, I had my follow-up appointment. This was an appointment to go through my anatomy scan results, which I had already gotten reports from the lab that did my anatomy scan. So after they took pictures, the nurse, the technician, she took all the pictures and readings and everything that they had to a doctor who was on site, and they just okayed the reports, and I think that was sent to my OB. And then everything looked great. At this 21-week appointment, they also gave me a prenatal depression survey. Like, I knew that there was that prenatal depression exists during pregnancy. Like, people do tend to get that, but I didn't know that there was a test for that. So they gave me like a quick survey kind of thing that I had to fill out, and they rate answers based on like some scale. And I scored very, very low on that, which said that I didn't have prenatal depression. When I was sitting with my doctor and she was like writing things on the computer, we had a small earthquake. So if you know anything about California, we are known to have earthquakes. We sit on like a big fault line. I felt like something had moved, and for a second I felt as if, I was going to faint. You know how you feel like a queasy feeling? That's what I felt when I was sitting down in the office. So I just looked at my doctor and I said, "Did you feel that?" And she's like, "Feel what?" And I was like, "Oh, that definitely is me. I'm feeling something. Maybe I'm fainting or something." But then she just opened the office door and everyone outside was like, "Oh my God, the building's moving." It was just a little bit of jolt, and I think it was mostly because we were on the third floor, because Kumar felt nothing at home. Week 21, I started to notice a lot of movement from the baby, and I was able to recognize a pattern. Like, he's definitely, now I definitely know that he's active like during the early morning time, and then anytime I eat something, he moves, which is very reassuring. And then sometimes I can just feel him like stretching, so I can feel movements like both sides of my tummy. It's just very, very exciting to just notice all these small things. A little bit of my heartburn started to come back, but like I said, later on I just figured out that if I didn't like lie down or sit down right after eating something spicy, if I walked, the heartburn definitely got better. Time for week 22. I don't have too many updates because I think my symptoms were pretty similar from the previous weeks, but I just written here that sleep had definitely gotten better once I started using the pregnancy pillow, and the baby seemed to have gotten a little higher in my tummy. Week 23, I think this is more like a pregnancy symptom, or a regular symptom for me, which has just gotten a little intense during pregnancy. But I can cry and get emotional at anything, and I don't even know what I'm crying about. So week 23 one day was really, really funny. I woke up and I told Kumar that I wanted to go to IKEA. I don't know why, but I just wanted to go to IKEA. And this was like maybe 7:30 in the morning, and IKEA probably opened at like 9 or 10 o'clock. So Kumar said, "Okay, we'll get up. I'll go to the gym, and you have breakfast, and then we'll go to IKEA by, say, lunch." And I started bawling my eyes, and I was like, "No, I want to go to IKEA right now when they open." And there wasn't even anything that I needed to buy from IKEA. I just wanted to go to IKEA. So yeah, that's what I've written here, that I can now cry at anything. And that day particularly, I cried about going to IKEA for some reason. I started to gather things for maybe online through Marketplace, and I think I got a really good bunch of stuff from Marketplace, which was like gently used. I got a Halo bassinet, which we plan to keep next to our bed for the first few months that he's going to be sleeping in our room. Initially, I thought I'd just put him in a crib in his room that we have in the house, and then we'll just put a single bed in that room. But I think that's just too much and tedious to do. So we'll just especially in the nights. So I got a really nice Halo bassinet, which I think retails for $200 to $300. I got it for free on Marketplace. I just took off all the thing that it has around it, like all the things that can be washed. I washed it really well, and then dried it in the sun really, really well, and then put it together and wiped everything else with like a disinfectant cleaner, and it's good as new. I also got a bunch of like swaddles and like tiny, tiny baby items like wraps and swaddles and bibs, socks, and all that. I think for newborn clothes, like they're hardly in those for a few weeks, and how dirty can it get? So I'm just okay giving it a couple washes in a good detergent and getting them really, really dry. I think I also got like a baby bath, which retails for $30 to $40. I got like a bunch of breastfeeding supplies. So especially like pumping supplies. I got a bunch of breast milk bags and nipple shields and all of that, nipple covers, and all of that through another lady on Facebook. I got a pack and play, which again retails for maybe $150 to $200 for $15. I still need to clean it out, but I think that was a great deal. If we are traveling maybe not in early days, but if he needs to sleep in a downstairs room or somewhere else, he can do that. I still need to clean and sanitize it. I have a bunch of things on my registry as well, and as and when I see deals pop up, I'll just buy those myself. And my baby shower is probably going to be a little late in the ninth month, so I'm not really relying on people to get things for me, and that's also not something that I set as an expectation. Now, this is the week I started having a little bit of lower back pain when I walked or stood up too much. And again, heartburn continues. Week 24. Oh, by the way, week 23, I think, is also, or was it week 22? One of these was also, I think it was week 22, when I went into work and I actually let my coworkers know that I was expecting and I will be out on maternity leave soon, and everyone was really excited. Week 24 was Christmas week, and I also hit viability this week. And if you don't know what viability means, is if someone were to deliver a baby at week 24 with the help of great nurses and doctors and NICU team, they would definitely need a lot of help. But there's a chance that a baby could survive if someone were to deliver a baby at 24 weeks. I hit that again, super exciting. And because it was Christmas, we had a couple friends over, and it was just the best time. We traveled to Tahoe like we like to do now. It's become a tradition of going to Tahoe for Christmas every year. I did carry my pregnancy pillow along with me, even though it was a night of sleep, because I know how precious that thing is. I had this constant urge to pee, and definitely again feeling the baby move, and I started noticing a pattern. I again went for a very relaxing prenatal massage this week. And as I tracked my weight gain, I had gained about 10 pounds so far. And I also started to notice like some breakouts right around my forehead. It could be because of hormones. It isn't as bad as, acne or whatever, but I have definitely noticed them quite a bit. I don't notice them today, but during week 24, I did notice them. It was also probably because I was just eating whatever crap. So, week 25, I went for my dental cleaning. The doctor said they saw like some swelling in my gums, and I definitely had some sensitivity after cleaning, which I didn't notice in my early cleanings. But because of the swelling, he just recommended like a couple mouthwashes that I need to do regularly and just keep taking care of my teeth, like brushing and flossing and all that. Yeah, I also started to do some prenatal yoga and strength training this week, which I think was ambitious because as I've hit third trimester, my energy definitely seems to have taken a hit, especially my, as the bump has gotten bigger, it does affect your stability and your posture and everything. One thing that I also started noticing is Braxton Hicks. My stomach gets like really tight. And this is especially, I notice it when I don't drink enough water, or if I drink too much water, if I have to pee, if I walk too much, or all those things. It can happen at whatever time. But if I just sit down and relax, it just goes away on its own. And I've talked to my doctor about it, and she said it's pretty normal for Braxton Hicks to happen at this point. But just to keep an eye that they aren't super consistent and they just go away on their own and they're not painful or anything. There's like multiple signs and symptoms that you can look out for, if they tend to get worse. The bump is also started getting harder, especially on the top. So I can definitely feel that baby has moved quite up, or at least my uterus has moved quite up. Still have the frequent sensation of peeing. So if I go to pee and I come out, I think it's because of the pressure of the baby and the uterus and everything. I still feel like, oh, I need to go pee again. And then I just get like 2 drops or something. And then I also started feeling really heavy in my abdomen again. I think it's because baby is gaining weight and growing, and that's just part of pregnancy. Great. Moving on to the last week of the second trimester, week 26. Now, week 26 was a little tough for me, I would say. So let's see. I had before that, a water break. So week 26 is when I had my week 26 appointment. And this one was, the last one for my second trimester. I did my glucose tolerance test this week. The doctor also measured my belly to just see the fundal height is what I think what they call it, and they check from the top of the uterus to your like pubic bone, and I think in centimeters it corresponds to how many weeks you are. I told the doctor that I'd still gained only about 10 pounds, and I can attribute that to eating very, very healthy. I don't eat a lot of junk or sugar or sweet or like a lot of carbs or anything. I try to eat healthy, and I also like exercise and walk as much as I can. So I haven't gained as much weight. And I've talked to a few people, and they said like most weight gain happens in the third trimester. So on some nights I have trouble sleeping, and from reading about it, I think it's called pregsomnia, which is insomnia that happens during pregnancy. And it just happens once or twice. I'm awake at like 4, and it's hard to go back to sleep for about an hour or two. But yeah, some nights it happens. Some nights I can just go through the night and sleep well. Nowadays, mostly like if I have to turn myself, that definitely wakes me up because I have to reposition my pillows and reposition myself. But okay, let me talk about my glucose test. And that was it, by the way, for my second trimester. But I think the glucose test for me was definitely a little weird. So this is how it went. Okay, usually I've heard that when you go for a glucose test, it's usually like a 1 hour test, and a lot of my friends are allowed to eat before this test. So they eat like a lot of protein before they go for the test. But I was asked to fast, and my test was 2 hours, not 1 hour. And then they give you like a very, very sugary drink. It's like 75 grams of sugar, which I probably don't even have in a week. In my mind, the glucose tolerance test was supposed to be this standard test wherein the first one is for an hour. So also there are two blood draws. Okay, so they take one fasting blood draw, and then there's another blood draw after an hour of when you have that drink, and that number is supposed to be about 140 or lower. But my process was different, wherein I had to go empty stomach, and they took two blood draws at 1 hour and 2 hour mark. So for the 1 hour mark, my sugar was above the high limit by like 15 points. For the second one, I was above by only 2 points. The doctor said like even if one of the values was higher, the 1 hour or the 2 hour, then they would just diagnose me with gestational diabetes. Now there's a few things about it, like in my case, I wasn't allowed to get out of the clinic and walk or do anything. I was just asked to drink this and just go and sit, which is not how I do meals. After every meal, I tend to walk at least 5, 10, 20 minutes. So, it burns carbs and sugar and all that. But yeah, again, that was not the case with me. But for a friend of mine, she could firstly have eaten before the test, so you could have protein or anything, and she, I think, missed by just 1 point and then had to do the 3 hour. And for this one, she could just go out and walk and then come back to do the blood draw. I'm like, okay, so in that case, you could walk for an hour and just burn all the sugar and carbs and everything from the drink. I don't know, it doesn't make a relevant test in my mind. I tried to talk to my doctor to just let me do the 3 hour test, but she was just adamant that they don't do that. They just do the 2 hour test, and that's it. Obviously, I've read about it and watched a lot of videos and read a few like Reddit articles and all that. And I've noticed a pattern that people who generally eat healthy fail the glucose test. So I think it's mostly to do, and by the way, gestational diabetes has nothing to do with what you eat or what your lifestyle is. It's just your placenta during a pregnancy makes hormones that contribute to gestational diabetes. So it's nothing that you ate or didn't exercise or worked out or whatever. It's nothing that you did or didn't do that contributed to this diagnosis. It's just something that happens. And it's actually taken quite a bit for me to come to terms with that diagnosis, because I generally eat very healthy and I walk and I do all that. I've barely eaten any chocolates or sweets or sugary beverages all my pregnancy. I don't have any cravings of like super, super sweet stuff. But, I did have PCOS, and people who have PCOS are at an increased risk of having gestational diabetes. So now I have this diagnosis of gestational diabetes. And next week, which is week 28, I have to meet with a nutritionist, I think, or like a specialist who deals with people who've been diagnosed with gestational diabetes, and I have to make changes with my diet. I don't know what changes they would ask me to do. Some of them maybe to have like, more vegetables, because I've definitely been lax with vegetables during the last few weeks. They'll let me know what kind of diet I need to be on. I think it's mostly just going to be less carbs, more protein and fat. And I think that will also just regulate how much weight I gain, which is probably not going to be a lot because it's going to be so controlled now. But anyway, it is what it is, and I have to, take this diagnosis with a grain of salt. And even though my numbers weren't too off, they did diagnose me. And the only thing that bothers me is that I have to prick my finger 4 times a day, I think, to get some blood and monitor my glucose levels throughout the day. So that is something that's annoying, but it's just, 13 or so weeks till baby comes out, and it's also going to help with baby's health as well and keep him healthy, and help me have a good weighted baby, and have myself in the best health possible as well. Yeah, that's about it for the second trimester. I forgot to mention where I am, by the way. We are in Santa Barbara, just here for Kumar's work. Well, he just gets a hotel to stay at, and he's not gonna enjoy the hotel. So I figured, like, I'm just gonna tag along with him and stay at the hotel, work from home or hotel in this case. So yeah, that was all about my second trimester. We are very, very excited for this final trimester, and very, very excited to meet this little baby boy. A few more weeks to go. I can't even believe it that we are already at this point in this pregnancy, and I just want to convey how grateful and thankful I am that we are at this stage, and baby's doing well, baby's healthy. And I just want to thank you for all your kind words and messages that you've always sent our way. So thank you so much to you as well. That's all about it. I will see you next time when I do my third trimester roundup, which is be very, very exciting as well. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.